All right.
cookies and Pop-Tarts.
All right. Well, we're live.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. You'll notice that Anthony is in he's in his safe room tonight.
Yeah, just in case Little Reaper comes barging in and I have to go calm him down. I'm just with him alone tonight. So he's watching TV. He's watching his favorite movie, Home Alone.
Yeah. There we go. Chat's live.
Great.
And I don't have to hide anymore. I can talk to humans again. I can look at the YouTube. I can watch television without fear. I saw the movie on Saturday, everybody.
So did I.
Hi, Todd. Hey, Rob. DS Comics is here.
Hey, James.
Music Chatter. Hey, I saw Music Chatter. I think I first saw you on Still Rage Dave on one of his lunchtime deals. But I was on No Faces guy last night, and there's no faces, but DS Comics, he has his. You see him, almost his entire arms stick out. So,
well, DS Comics made his first facial appearance on our show.
His first appearance, not a cameo.
No, this was a full-blown. This is not Hulk 180. This is 181.
Right. 181. So that's DS's Comics.
He took on the Hulk and he took on the Wendigo.
Yeah. Hey, Eugene, I see Yickety Yakkety's in. Christopher Joy. Hello, welcome, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, see, that's what I thought. So Music Chatter is Brian Spaceboy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Well, that explains why I haven't seen. I'm gonna have to subscribe to you, Music Chatter, because I noticed Brian doesn't have videos anymore.
Well, he does vinyl.
Well, he moved, Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Guinness.
Back to the old school can. So, yes, I saw the movie Saturday. But before we get into that, Anthony and Mike and I had kind of an interesting conversation today about the future of the movies. And Mike brought up a pretty interesting point. Do you even care? Are you looking forward to the new Marvel movies that are coming out? And at first I'm like, well, yeah. And then I kind of started thinking about it, and I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I personally am not looking forward to.
I know, it's weird.
Let me explain, though.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to a new Guardians and a new. Oh, what was the other one I said off chat? What was the other one? Doctor Strange. Because I think those two have potential to introduce a lot of cool characters that might move in to this Fox acquisition, like Fantastic Four and X-Men. I mean, they, in all honesty, they all do. I mean, another Black Panther, they all pretty much do. But those are the only two movies I'm really looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to like another Captain Marvel or anything else, really. I want to see what they're doing with Guardians, because if they are going to go cosmic, there's a good place to start.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and there's precedent in the comics with as Guardians of the Galaxy. That I could see that kind of makes sense. I think the comedic timing of Chris Hemsworth fits in great with that whole cast.
Yeah. I think that.
And if you think about it, it's like the Avengers to a certain degree. Each one of them kind of fills a role. Drax is kind of the Hulk role, and Gamora was kind of the Black Widow role.
Well, I'm sure the third movie's gonna go further with that whole storyline with Gamora and Star-Lord. So it goes into interesting. It probably could go into an interesting.
Well, I think too, what it does is it allows you to have, Thor 165, where he squares off against a Warlock for the first time.
See, that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of potential there that I would be interested in seeing.
Yeah,
I'm really interested in seeing.
Because if you think about it, if he's as powerful as he was in the comics, the Guardians of the Galaxy really don't have much of a shot, I don't think.
Unless they have Thor with them or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unless they had Thor with them, then they're definitely they could. But so that for me will be fun to watch, and I just like watching that group. To a certain degree, they remind me a lot of the movie Serenity. The show Firefly.
Yeah.
That cast it's similar to that, to where they're on that kind of a beat up ship and they just kind of fly around, and they're kind of good, but they're kind of bad too. So I don't know. I would watch more of those for sure. I enjoy how they do things, that whole aspect of it, and it's kind of fun now that they're aware of Earth and they've been on Earth, and um, you know,
Yeah,
it also dovetails in when they bring the Fantastic Four around.
yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have seen something with the Fantastic Four, just a glimmer.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have to see any of the characters.
No,
I,
the thing that
I
we
had
were
this.
hoping for, I wanted to see was the four in the sky, but
That's what I want to say. I had this vision of, like, you hear this at the end of the post credit scene. You see this little kid. He hears a bang or something, and he goes out to his like window, and he looks in the distance, and he sees this almost like this creature moving around in the city,
yeah,
and then his eyes illuminate, and you see a four light up in his
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
It's almost like the beginning of Fantastic Four with the mole man monster coming out.
I think you're going to see at the end of Spider-Man, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff laid out because that's when they had said that they were going to announce the next phase. So,
Oh, they did? I didn't know that.
yeah, Feige said that that's the end of this phase, and that the next phase will be after Far From Home.
So they'll introduce it and introduce something maybe in Far From
Yeah,
Home.
I imagine they'll have a press release not too far after the release of that movie.
So with that being said,
yeah,
now our attention, I think, turns to giant size X-Men, which
yes,
was also something mentioned in our conversation with Mike.
yeah.
So what do you think? What this has been brought up before.
I think that's where the money's going right now. I mean, if you look at how quickly and rapidly that book's rising, that and a lot of the earlier Fantastic Four books that I think people are kind of placing bets on what they think, will go. Like 67, obviously, with Adam Warlock when he comes out of the cocoon. That book's risen. Number one, obviously, is going through the roof.
I saw someone. Now this is somebody selling. It's not GPA figures.
Yeah.
Someone was selling on Instagram. Fantastic Four, number one, 3.0. Nice looking 3.0.
Yeah.
Wasn't a piece of junk or anything. It looked nice. Over 10 grand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, there's some coming up in the Comic Link auction. There's a 3.0 all the way up to a 7.0, I think. So,
I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it's. I mean, that's what he's selling it for. I'm not saying that's what it's worth. According to GPA or eBay sales, maybe it is. I don't know, but I'm looking at it. I'm like, man,
it will be by the end of May.
I mean, yeah, right.
That's going to be the price, I think.
If you had purchased a 3.0 Fantastic Four about 5 years ago, I mean, here we go again. Another what if? What if?
Yeah.
You probably would have spent like a few thousand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe 3,000, 2,500, maybe on the low end of that. Probably on the high end, maybe 3,500. It would have been around there. But man, now you're looking at a lot more digits.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's like anything else. So wherever the herd is going, you kind of want to get away from that.
Yeah, like the Iron Man 55 herd.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you're going to see that book soften. You and I were talking earlier about it. I think any of the non-Silver Age appearances, you're going to see those books all soften.
I mean, I guess except with the exception of Hulk 181.
Well, I mean Avengers related characters.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So anyone that's already been in an MCU movie, I think you're going to see a softening now. I think even like Doctor Strange, even though he's going to get another movie, I still think you're going to see softening in that price. I think the Silver Age books are going to go. I've already seen the last 4 months we've been tracking Tales of Suspense 39. Has been going down steadily, anywhere between 10-12% every month. So
yeah, I think I saw a recent copy, like a 3.0, on sale for 3,500 or something like that. I'm like, which is good.
I think that book's going to settle in around 38. Isn't that probably where it should have been all along? It shouldn't have been up in the fives like it has been for a few years now.
Well, that one dealer that you were looking at was selling it for like $1,500 more than what it was GPA.
More than GPA, yeah. He almost wanted $57.50. He wanted for that book.
I'm like, no, no. And it's a nice looking book.
And that wasn't even his eBay price. That was his buy direct price. So,
that's right. Good luck dealing with them.
Dealers will up whatever their fees are going to be. They get better pricing anyway. They don't pay the full 10 and 3 like the rest of us do. They top out, I think, at $500.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, about all the money value talk here, everybody. Some of you have been requesting it, but I know there's a large group of people that don't like when we talk about that end of it. But
yeah, it's just something that we just was on our minds. Hey, if Tales of Suspense 39 continues to go down somewhat, that might be on my top 10 books to get next year.
Yeah. Well, I know, at all the big cons that I'll be going to, it's a book I'll look for. If I see Fantastic Four ones at a price that I think is decent, I'll grab them. The giant size X-Men one right now for me, unless I get a decent price on it, although I normally say I don't mind paying GPA or close to GPA for key books, that book I think is an inflated GPA right now, and I'm staying away from it. As much as I'd like to own a copy of that, I'm not paying $2,000 for a 7.0. I won't.
It's like that book went up overnight. I remember looking on Facebook and someone saying Giant Size X-Men 1 was the hottest book on the planet. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I looked at some of the prices and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. That book's really gone nuts.
This largely because they probably think that's where that's going to start. They probably
Eternals 3 is another one that, in a lot of cases, even in the same grade, it's going for more than Eternals 1. And
which one? Which one?
Eternals 3. That's the first appearance of Cersei, and somebody's tied Angelina Jolie to it, which I have a hard time believing that that'll be the character she plays. I'll be surprised because why would you pick such an old actor to start a new franchise?
Well, one of the funny things about the speculation, and this still may be the case, but I remember last year after Infinity War came out, I don't remember what number it was, but it was West Coast Avengers where you had the White Vision.
Oh yeah.
Everyone was specking on that there's going to be White Vision, and I'm like,
yeah, and
sorry,
yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
But people were paying
a lot of guys that spec'd on books for this Endgame movie, and it didn't pan out. In my reaction video I did yesterday, I talked about that almost anything that I accidentally saw did not come true.
But let's talk about that for a moment. Like, what books do you think people were panning on? I mean, I heard that supposedly, this might have been just a rumor, that Black Knight was supposed to be in an Endgame.
No. Yeah.
That book had a surge, and then, well, that was squashed after last week.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess, I'd heard rumors that they maybe were this was where Submariner was going to make an appearance. Because they had talked about, now, I don't want to spoil because we'll wait a little bit before we start talking actual spoilers.
To get more people in and let everybody know.
More people in so we can have a larger impact and ruin the movie for more people. But don't worry, before we say anything spoilerish, we'll alert you because there's so much good stuff in this movie that I don't want anyone to have any idea about it when you're sitting in the theater. It's great to have the same reaction that we all got to have.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the big books was War is Hell #9. And that's the first appearance of death in Marvel. And I remember people, I picked up a copy because I got it for, I think, $3. And it's in great, I mean, it's like probably an 8.0 or higher. But I saw at shows people paying over $50 for that thing. And they're thinking, oh, this is going to be, and I'm like, guys, they haven't even hinted about that the reason why Thanos did what he did had nothing to do with he was trying to court death. I think it's because of that line that they said in the first one, to pursue them would be to court death, and then Thanos smiled. That's where that started. All of these crazy specs and rumors start with a nugget of truth, and then people get on the internet, and it's like a telephone game. One guy will say it, and then another guy watches that video. He doesn't get it 100%. He makes a video. Then on and on and on. And by the time sixth person.
And then on Instagram, you see guys posting their 12 copies of that one book.
Correct.
Like,
there's a couple sites out there. Can't remember the name of them. When I think of it, I'll talk about them next week. But there's two of them. I want to say one of them's like Comic Mayhem or something like that. And this guy routinely will pump up books, and then magically you go on eBay, and there they are for like the prices he said. And whose books do you think they are? So I think him and another guy got not caught but exposed for doing that a couple summers ago, where they have these.
I'm not surprised.
Pretty frequented blogs that people go to. One of the guy owns a shop, I think, up in Canada. So there's a lot of that going on. The pump and dump.
It all goes with the market.
I think I mentioned to Nick on either through email or possibly on one of his videos that a lot of these guys that are speculators, they're not even in the hobby. They don't have any. They're parasites basically. They go from collectible to collectible, and they come in and they grab as much money out of the hobby as they can, and they leave.
Yeah, they're like locusts.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw it in the baseball cards that happened. It happened in comics in the '90s. It's the same guys you see at these shows where they walk in, all they're looking for is Hulk 181, Iron Man 55, Spider-Man 129, and if they don't see those, they turn around and they leave. They don't go to any panels. They're not looking in long boxes. All they try to do is go to the wall and shake guys down, to buy a book so that they can list it on eBay as they're walking to their car in a parking lot. They're bottom feeders. They're bad for the industry, the hobby, I think. And everyone sells books and or trades them. I don't have any problem with it because if no one sold them, you couldn't buy them.
That's right.
But I guess it kind of irks me, these guys that aren't in the hobby that get into this. They're just in it for the wrong reasons.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That is true. It does make it sometimes more difficult for the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah.
That have a healthy balance of everything.
Yeah, yeah. But you can whine all you want about it. I guess you can't stop it.
No, we can't.
All you can hope for is that they spec all their money on the wrong books, and then they decide it's too painful and they get out.
Well, what was it? I think James at DS Comics. I think it was he was the one that he posted on Instagram a recent copy of Werewolf by Night that had sold. Werewolf by Night 8.5.
32?
32, yeah.
Yep.
It was an 8.5. And then one that was an 8.0. The 8.0 sold for I think $1,600 or whatever the hell it was. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, James. The 8.5 sold for $4,000.
Yeah.
I'm saying to myself, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's not that rare a book.
It's just and I think a lot of other people were leaving comments like, "Oh my God, give me a break." And no, it was an 8.0 that sold for that. And I think the 8.5 sold for $1,600. So something like that. But the price, but no matter what grade it was, 8.0, 8.5, the grade, the price was just ridiculously overinflated. I mean, a $4,000 for 8.0, 8.5?
Yeah.
That's
why? For a seedless character.
Yeah. And that's another thing with those Netflix shows.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's always talk of, are we having comic book fatigue? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when it comes to the movies. I mean, some movies I think do a little bit better than others, and other movies are more desirable than others. But I think when it comes to the TV series, they had a good thing with Daredevil. And I think Daredevil was pretty good all the way to the end. But like what Nick says, it had about 3 or 4 episodes that really didn't need to be made.
Mm-hmm.
But they made other series like Luke Cage and Iron Fist that really did not need their own series. They were good as background characters. Luke Cage was good in Jessica Jones, and that was it. Then they created this entire series based around them where they might have had 4 or 5 good episodes, and the rest of them were just painful to get through. And I think that caused a lot of people to be like, this is kind of,
It's easier to become fatigued, though, when the quality's not there.
Right.
Although I will say that after 23 of these Marvel movies, I am thinking that I'm not that excited to see another Marvel movie. Like Spider-Man, it's okay. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to it.
So far, nothing really excites me about it. So I'll go see it. But
the only thing I'm looking forward to is a post-credit scene.
Yes.
I want to see where things are going, so then I can think about, what the future holds, and that ignites the imagination.
Yeah.
Right now, my imagination is, shot.
Yeah. Well, to a certain degree, you're expended. You used up all your juice. There's not left in the tank to get excited about. All that being said, of course, I can't wait to watch the movie again.
Oh yeah, I would definitely want to see it again.
I'm hoping they do a double feature this summer where they show Infinity War and then Endgame immediately following. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be good.
At the drive-in. So
let's begin at 7:19. Maybe now it's 7:20 now. Let's see if we should begin our chat on Endgame.
All right. Well, I guess then anyone that has
spoiler alert.
You don't want the movie spoiled. You don't want aspects spoiled. Or give them 30 seconds to say goodbye and then leave. Not that I want you to leave, But what you can do is obviously this will be on my channel afterwards. So after you see the movie, come back and watch it, and then you can put some comments there why you think me and Anthony are idiots.
Other than the
That's the
usual,
internet loves to do.
other than the usual reasons why
Yeah,
we're
other
idiots.
than the obvious reasons.
Uh,
Oh boy, CBS is out. All right.
who's out?
DS took off.
Oh,
All right. Well, I think most people have seen it, or a lot of
yeah.
people have seen
I
it.
would imagine that a lot of people in the community have already seen it or will be seeing it very shortly.
Yeah. Typically, I wait a week. So I'm not a big fan of crowds. It was a packed house. It was Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And I couldn't believe it. It was like we had to find a seat.
Yeah.
And normally I walk in and I can pick my seat and
Mhm.
line myself up right in the center and, 40 degrees field of view, the whole thing. And it was weird being in a theater with people. I haven't watched a movie with that many people in it. And there was a lot of cheering. You could hear audibly, you could hear people crying, sobbing during the movie. Um, I heard several swear words when certain things happen. Some people, and you could tell there's when somebody's favorite character, something either really good or really bad happens to them, they freak out. People
Yeah.
are just pissed about certain things in this movie. And I've read online, and you can't please everybody.
No.
I think they did a really good job. Um, you have a lot of this whole, social justice warrior thing going on. People bitching. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Thor and fat shaming and all this stuff. I'm just like, guys, it's a freaking movie. It's not a documentary.
I don't think they were shaming him though. He
No.
was sort of like the Big Lebowski or something like that.
Yeah.
it was
Well,
a
that's what they
shame.
called him. Stark actually called him that at one point. He
Oh,
got fat. He got
I
lazy.
missed that
He went
part.
around and played video games with his buddies and drank beer. Yeah,
I
he
like
got
that.
heavy.
I like that. I like his two alien friends, Korg and the other guy. That was
Yeah,
the other guy was
yeah.
eating pizza and all that stuff.
Yeah. It was funny that he was reduced to yelling at like a 10-year-old on a video game.
Sort of like us.
That was like his heroic act for a while. That whole scene was great. I love that it looks like they moved either to Norway or Finland or something.
It was Norway.
Yeah, in a fishing village. I love that idea. In the comics, they had him in that floating island that Sentry ultimately destroys, I think. I really hope that's a character they don't explore.
Oh, Sentry?
Yeah, that's just a garbage character. I can't stand that whole storyline. Anyway.
Another thing about this movie, I like the little tips of the hat, just some of the things that they did in the comics recently.
Yeah.
Like with Falcon, like with Captain America when he went back in time and he got into the elevator and went, Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
Because everyone freaked out when that happened.
Oh
in
yeah,
the comics.
no, that was a huge freak out moment in Secret Wars. There was a lot of fan service there. Most of it I enjoyed. I thought that it was really pandering when they had all the female characters suddenly appear and pose for a picture that nobody was taking. That was corny to me. It was quick though, so I guess I didn't care. I just recognized. I'm like, well, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, it was a little. It was a little.
Why would you all line up like that anyway?
Yeah, it was a little contrived, but
not that she needs help anyway. Why, especially some of the weakling characters showed up to help her. It's like you're just going to get in the way.
Did you like Captain Marvel?
The movie?
The movie and Marvel in this movie.
Yeah, I just stay away from anything where she's doing interviews. I think some people have problems separating the character they see on the screen and who the person is in real life. And yeah, news for them, if you ever watch any talk show, 9 out of 10 times when you see an actor on there, you're not going to like them because you quickly realize you like what they say, what someone else has written, and they're reading their lines. There's a few exceptions to that, and I actually like Jeremy Renner. I think in person is much more fun to watch than his acting. I didn't care for his Hawkeye so much. This movie got a little bit better, but I don't know. I guess it just wasn't as believable. But I see him on other things, and he's entertaining. Paul Rudd is great live. He's even more fun to watch than when he's acting. He's got real character. But the rest of them, they're kind of stiff, and they all have their agendas, and that's just Hollywood these days. They're all politically active. They all have their charities that they want to promote. They all have their view on things, and now they have a platform, and they're going to preach it. just stay away from that. I don't know why people get all wrapped around the axle about Brie Larson and what she does and the faces she makes on interviews. Who cares? Why are you even watching that? Why do you're gonna, you're not friends with them. What do you care? It goes back to like People Magazine or Entertainment Weekly or any of those shows on TV. I don't even know why anyone watches that crap. I don't care who's dating who. I don't care who's, what diet they're on, what detox they're doing. I could care less. I just want to see them on the screen. If they do a good job on the screen, that's all I care about.
Yeah. I hear you on that one.
It's rare where I see somebody off screen where they're enjoyable.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen Talking Dead, that's a perfect example of that. Anytime that the one that plays Michonne is on there, that woman's on there, I can't stand to watch it. She just talks to her own voice, and it just like you think she's doing Shakespeare. You're on a zombie show, lady. Just shut up.
Yeah, I mean, really, a lot of the it's like what you're saying. A lot of these actors are actually quite boring individuals.
Yeah.
Lacking personality from what I've seen. So it doesn't. I don't watch talk shows or anything like that. I mean, you hear about some of the stuff on social media, of course. You can't escape that.
Some people have their entire channels around this stuff, like who hates her and who. It's just like you're just.
I don't care.
I can imagine getting up, and my life is that small that's what I want to do. I want to promote all this negative crap. I just don't get it.
Yeah. But anyway, did you like her in the movie? Did you like the character Captain Marvel?
I liked her in the movie. I liked her in her movie, her private movie. I thought it was good. Captain, I enjoyed it. I liked to see how it gave you an idea of how things came about and why the Avengers Initiative was created in the first place. And she was limited in this movie, and they had some key lines that what's going on Earth is going on everywhere, and everywhere doesn't have an Avengers on their planet, so she's got to fly around and help everybody.
I liked her haircut towards the end.
That was definitely a nod to
yes, it was.
The fans like some of the fans. There's a segment of fans that like that short haircut on her.
And I like Rocket when he made reference to it.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed him a lot in these last two movies, more than I did in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, especially in this movie. I think two characters that really shined in this was Ant-Man and him.
Yes.
I had some great moments in that. One of my favorite moments when he's sitting outside, they land and his taco gets all blown apart, and then Hulk walks by and he just reaches down and hands him a taco. There's a lot of little moments like that are just so good, and people bitch about how long the movie was, but that to me amplified them when you get to the final battle scene.
Another thing about Ant-Man, little moments, is when they were talking with the Hulk, and the kids wanted the Hulk's autograph, and then. And he's like, "Well, I'm Ant-Man," and the Hulk sort of felt bad. He's like, "Yeah, you want his autograph?" And the kid's like, sort of nodding, and Ant-Man's like, "Look, he's saying no. Here, just take your goddamn pad or something."
Yeah, he said, "Take your goddamn pad back." Yeah, no, I loved how they handled, Professor Hulk or Dr. Green as we call in the comics.
Yeah, I was glad that they went that route.
And I went to a local comic shop and I heard a guy talking, and obviously the guy is a huge Hulk fan, and he was all bent out of shape. That the Hulk didn't get a chance to go one-on-one with Thanos. I'm like, I didn't want to say anything to the guy. I'm like, he did, and he got his ass kicked.
That's it. Not every character needs.
They're equal strength. One has military fighting skills, and the other one's just a bludgeoning tool. So he got his ass kicked. Just deal with it.
I also like the Ancient one in this. I thought she and Renee Russo's character, Frigga.
Yeah.
I think they had some pretty good lines.
It's funny because even though both of them had small parts, then you go back and you think about their character in the other movie and how much more rounded that tiny 2-minute screen time in this movie changed what you thought of that character.
Yeah, and I did like it when Frigga was talking to Thor and all that, and as he has his sensitive moment where she's like, "Oh, you should try eating a salad."
Yeah, she's still being a mom right to the very end. Take a sweater, honey. It looks cold outside. No, yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot of the movie. We can break down, but there's other, I'm sure anyone that saw it has done it. But there was a couple other little moments in there too. One of them was when War Machine Rhodey was talking to Nebula, and you could tell it bothered her how much her body had been ruined and how changed she was by all the mechanical things. And obviously he's got the same thing as his legs, and he said, we use the tools we're given or whatever. And I think that's just a really great moment in that.
Yeah, I mean,
In
I do think Nebula was also another good character in this
yeah,
movie.
huge.
You could tell in this movie how far her character has come personality wise. You know, when
Mhm.
you first meet her in Guardians, she's just like this mean spirited,
Yeah.
really, but you see her really come. You know,
Yeah, when she
come
puts Tony Stark in the chair and pats him on the shoulder,
yeah.
and then
But
she
I like that little
passes up
scene.
food for him to have it. There's
I,
just
yes, I like that scene that where they were playing like the little that little game that they were playing. Do you remember that?
oh yeah,
And
the football game.
she missed it, and she was getting sort of like angry, and he's like, no, it's okay. And then she wound up winning, and she's just very stern, but she's like, I like this game. And like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, because if you think of how she was raised, she probably never was shown kindness.
that's right, yeah, yeah,
That's your dad. It's probably not good.
yeah.
You're not going to be making, macaroni paper plate with glitter on them for Father's Day for them.
Yeah. So I thought, yeah, there were a lot of characters I thought that had those little moments that were really good.
Yeah. And there was a lot of payoff moments that people loved. I watched both the Avengers movies, or actually all three in succession, and I watched Civil War leading up to it, all 4 nights in a row. And Age of Ultron actually, for me, seemed to have the most in it that seemed to show up in this one as well. The moment with Thor where he moves, budges it, and only Chris Helmsworth, Thor, noticed that it moved a little bit. So that's
Yes.
why when he was, he picks up the hammer and he hits him. That's why he's screaming out, "I knew it," because he knew that he could do it. Now, one thing did happen at that I haven't heard anyone talk about. Thanos grabs Stormbreaker. He
Yeah,
has
he
him in his
does.
hand.
Yeah.
So does that mean he's worthy, or does that weapon not have that mystique about it?
I don't know if
I don't
that
know that
weapon.
much about Stormbreaker. I don't know if it's just a weapon that anyone can hold on to.
I don't think that weapon. Uh, I think with Stormbreaker, you had to have a certain amount of power to be able to use it.
Yeah,
Because I think Thor said in the last movie
yeah,
nobody could,
for you if you picked it up.
but I don't think it had anything to do with worthiness,
Okay, all
like
right.
with the hammer.
Yeah, with the M word, did I
Yeah,
swallow my own tongue if
yeah,
I tried to say it?
Muljulner or whatever the hell it's called. But right, yeah, I think you had to be worthy enough to
Yeah.
have that hand. But
I just love
Stormbreaker
how
was some,
Captain America soon he gets it too. He picks it up and then he just starts twirling it immediately. He
that's right.
starts playing with the lightning. The whole thing was just fantastic. One of my favorite scenes is where he's all by himself. He's broken, obviously. He gets up and here comes the horde. Everyone's coming at him, and he just tightens that arm thing. He's like, "All right, this is it." And he kept his shattered shield, and he was going to fight with it. And then all the portals opened up behind him. It was just magic.
Yeah. That was when a lot of the the audience that I was with, they were clapping when some of these
Oh,
characters came out.
shrieking, cheering.
Yeah. So
There
that
were
was
some audible people just pissed when Black Widow died, and then you could hear sobbing, and it was tough. I mean, that was rough.
my friend.
The opening scene where they just go and they're like, "Let's go find Thanos," and they're like, "Oh, he's here." They bust through his house. He's trying to eat dinner. They beat the crap out of him, chop his arm off,
Like
lob his head off.
like what you said they should have done in the first one.
The first one, chop the arm off. He said, "Go for the head." I just would have chopped his arm off
Yeah.
immediately. Anyway, so yeah, that was great. When you get the big three together fighting him, that scene where he's sitting down with his helmet off and he's just kind of sitting there and Thor's watching them. They're up on the hill and they're talking about what they're going to do. That is such an awesome shot. It's right after they destroyed the whole base and everything like that. It was pretty cool. You got little moments too, like from Secret Wars where Hulk's holding up the whole thing, protecting some of the other characters below. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Ant-Man exploding up out of the hill right at the battle scene was so awesome.
Yeah.
He just punches one of those flying snake reptile things in the face.
Yeah. That was great.
There's just so much goodness there. There were so many people just cheering at all those little moments that were going on too. Obviously, you had a lot of heartbreaking moments at the end with Tony Stark, but the hardest part for me to see is when he did the recording that they played after at the funeral. That was just brutal. Oh,
Yeah.
Or when Steve Rogers went back, and I know there's a lot of plot holes that people are talking about with time, but I've read what a lot of people are complaining about, and I thought about them, and they really did a good job of explaining all of that. I mean, I love that they addressed Back to the Future and all these other time travel, even Hot Tub Time Machine. That they Hulk stepped in and said, no, it's all wrong. People always say stuff like that, but this is how it really works. And
I mean, yeah, there's really, I don't know if there's really any definitive way to do time travel. I mean, you make the rules in the movie and then you follow it. Like Back to the Future, you go back, you change this, and everything will be okay. Well, those are the rules for that movie.
yeah,
Whether it's
not only that,
reality,
but I think there's a large degree. The writers of this movie said, "This is it. This is our last movie." Why is time travel work this way? Because F you, that's why.
and also I heard with time travel, the Earth is not in the same place it was several years ago. So if you
right, it wouldn't be. Yeah.
if you indeed went back into time, let's say to 1955, you'd probably be in the middle of space.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's different no matter what.
Yeah, and then you get into the whole thing. It isn't just the Earth; it's everywhere. So if you change the timeline, you change it for everywhere. That kind
That's
of
right.
thing. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I didn't. I normally don't like time travel. The only time travel movies, there's two that I like, is Terminator 2 and the Back to the Future series. I'm okay with. Everywhere else, to me, I can't stand when they do time travel because it's usually a way to write yourself out of a corner.
Yeah.
It's either that or aliens or an evil twin, and this movie had all three of those. It had an evil twin, it had aliens, and it had time travel. So I guess they were going for the trifecta. That being all set, though, the guys that wrote this also wrote 5 other movies for this whole sequence.
Oh, okay.
So the Russo brothers did these 2. They did Civil War. I can't remember the other ones that they did.
Winter Soldier.
Was it Winter Soldier?
I think so. I think that.
Yeah,
I think
there
that
was 4 or 5 that they did. So they're getting a lot of credit for this, and they did a great job. It's all up there on the screen. It's beautiful. But the writers, I think, they're the ones that I haven't heard much about them. I mean, I had to look to see who they were. You'd think they'd be getting a lot more attention than they have been. But
yeah, I never heard of them before.
Yeah, just the way they wove this together, and they pulled little pieces out of all these movies. I mean, even Thor 2 that almost nobody saw. I think they pulled little parts out of that, and at the end they had the little boy from Iron Man 3 was standing there at the funeral. That's who the teenage kid was. That was him. There is some other little tidbits that people wanted to see or things they talked about, but the movie was already 3 hours. I mean, it would have been 4 hours if they went back. Like, yeah, I would have loved this scene. I think a whole movie would have been great just watching Cap go through, take the hammer back, take all the different gems back, and then ending with the dance scene again.
I think it worked out pretty well though the way it was done. I mean, I think it was done well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, people are always going to complain. There's always going to be something that they don't like about it, and that's just the way it is. But for me, I was very satisfied with it.
I can't imagine someone going into a 3-hour movie and I read a few people that after they killed Thanos right away, they're just they sat on their hands and that's it. I'm not going to like this movie. It's just get up and leave then. I don't understand that attitude. 20 minutes in, you're done with the movie. You're not gonna, you get so upset about a plot point that you can't think about anything else. Just get over it already.
A lot of comic book movies take, liberties with things, and particularly the Marvel universe. And sometimes you may not agree with them, but I think for the most part, the liberties that they take are for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine this whole thing was about Thanos courting death. It would have been kind of stupid, I think. It wouldn't have been the same thing. It wouldn't have translated so well.
Everyone wore the same outfits that they wore in the comics.
What was that?
And what if everyone wore those goofy outfits like they were in the comic books?
Yeah, I know. Imagine the Scarlet Witch.
Based on 19th century circus performers. That's why everyone wears tights.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where that comes from. The strong men in the circus. That's why Superman wore tights.
Yeah.
The magicians wore capes.
That's right. Can you imagine that?
No, how dumb that would be. Yeah, I love that scene where Captain America thinks he finds Loki, and the 2013, 2014, 2023 Cap are fighting. That's and of course it's got the America's butt comment that everyone really loved.
Yeah, I didn't really understand it too much. Maybe I missed the punchline on it.
I do like that they picked right up with Ant-Man's adoration of Captain America, that he's just starstruck when he sees him. I think that's kind of funny, and they kept that going. Yeah, it was neat to see. It did remind me of Marty McFly, where the scene where he's performing on stage and he's up in the catwalk, making sure that the bad kids don't get him.
That's right.
Where they were in there and they were watching. One of the funniest lines in the thing is where they're standing at the end in front of Loki in Avengers 1, and he's like, "If it's all the same, I'll have that drink now." And Stark turns and says, "All right, I'm not going to stand here for a picture nobody's taken," or something like that. And great line, something that always is irritating when you read comics, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. They always had pictures of most standing heroically. It's like, well, there's no photographer. Why are you all standing like that? It's just stupid. Yeah, there was a lot of great little moments in it, but obviously it was an epic.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I liked how the pacing was too. It had 3 distinct acts in the film, and the beginning was rough and it was very somber and quiet, but I think you needed that to set the tone. And then you had the whole heist caper in the middle, and then obviously the battle was at the end. But if you look at most, things, they're written in 3 acts, and just follow that formula perfectly. So I think Anthony is going after Little Reaper right now. I'll take this opportunity to peek at the chat. Mastodon Comics, hello. Knights of Old, you're out of work. That's good, man from Beantown. I see Goombas here. Discovery Bay, hello. It's early for you around the West Coast, right? I don't know how many people have shied away since we started talking about the movie. Good as gold. Oh, on your left, yeah, that was a great line. All right. It looks like we have most of the regulars, some new faces. Tech 31 Kid, hey. I don't know, have you seen this yet? Have you seen the new Endgame? How many people have seen it twice? That's the thing I'm wondering about. I'm sure there's people who are seeing it 3 times. It's definitely a movie I think you're going to want to own, or at the very least keep in your queue at all times and keep watching over and over again. I know I watched Infinity War probably 4 times, so I think I'll watch this at least 4 times. If not, I really enjoyed it. Did you engage the handcuffs this time?
Oh yeah, I just had to get him a little something.
Straighten them out.
Yeah.
So I was just seeing how many times people have seen it. I know I'll see it at least one more time in the theater. This is definitely a movie you want to see in the theater. I don't usually go to IMAX or the 3D, but I might see this one in that. I like the first viewing not to be in that because it can be very disorienting. And I'm thinking that final battle scene on IMAX must be insane.
Oh yeah. I can imagine, right?
Yeah,
that would have been something.
Yeah, it was funny too because I would say it was a day or 2 afterward, and I'm still thinking about certain parts of that movie, and even more so now talking about it. But that night, Saturday night, I remember even as I was going to sleep, I was still thinking about it. There's just so much in there. It's so dense.
My wife really liked it, and she usually likes these movies, but there's certain characters that she doesn't like, but she really enjoyed this. So that says a lot.
It would be interesting too to see it at the con when I go to Heroes Con. How many guys break out the Thor Big Lebowski cosplay? That's a real easy cosplay, right? You just get a blonde wig.
It's easy enough. Most of these guys, they just have to go as themselves.
Yeah, they look like that. So just throw a bathrobe on and walk around with a beer bottle, and you're all set.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to report to me on that one.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm gonna get a lot of video this time. I'll be one of those weirdos walking around with the tripod in my hand probably this year. I do want to try to talk to a lot more creators too.
Like who?
Well, I do want. I'm gonna wait in line for Stranko because he's starting to look a little feeble, and he may not, I would think, do shows too much more.
Yeah, he seems like he's small for.
Yeah, he is little. He looks like he might. I don't even know if he's 5'1", 5'2". He's tiny. But he's also light. He looks like he might weigh 110 pounds. So
yeah. I know he follows a really strict diet.
Yeah, well,
it
he's
shows.
a guy too. So, But there's a lot of guys like that that I do want to see. If Roy Thomas is there, there was a couple things going on at the same time, and I couldn't get into his thing. I would have loved to have been on that. I went to Chris Claremont instead.
Mhm.
Kind of cool. I got to meet him and talk to him. He's another guy too. You hear people talk about how arrogant he is and this and that, but I don't know. He seemed nice. He talked to me in the hallway. He wasn't. Like,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
look at you like you're an idiot and they don't want to even talk to you.
Well, I had that. I met Chris Claremont. He was very nice to me. I met
Yeah.
Neil Adams. He was really nice to me.
Yeah, he's another one I hear people say stuff about, but I don't know. I can't think of any of these people that I met that weren't kind. Some were very quiet. Mike Zeck was extremely quiet. It was like pulling teeth. I'd ask him questions and it was yes and no basically.
Yeah. I know Mark Bagley seemed a little to me.
Yeah. And it's weird to me sometimes that maybe because I know for Mike Zeck there was no one in line. I walked right up to him. I handed the money to the lady. She signed the certificate thing, then slid it down in front of him. He signed my book. He looked up, said, I think he said thank you, something like that. I just talked to him about how much I enjoyed his run on Captain America. And a couple other questions, but I could tell he was in no mood to talk. I'm like, all right, whatever.
See ya.
Yeah, but most of them are pretty friendly.
Yeah, I think Steranko's friendly.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at the list. I know he's on it, but I don't know who else is going to be there this year. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
And hopefully the dealers will bring some of their bigger books down there, and we can grab some of those. That'll be a lot of fun. But
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Yep.
You're gonna have some pretty big dealers there. They're gonna have a lot of good stuff there, like they did last year.
Yeah. So what didn't happen in Endgame that you wished had happened?
A post-credit scene.
Yeah. Well, the only one they had is the sound of the tapping iron, which I think was a nod to the first Iron Man movie.
But I can understand why they didn't have a post-credit scene, because this is supposed to be, I think, the end of the storyline.
Yeah.
It's not a continuation or cut to be seen next time or coming up. They wanted to end it here. They'll have those sort of introductions to the next phase or whatever it's going to be.
I wonder if they'll keep doing that. If that'll still be their thing, if they still have the end credit scenes like that.
Oh, I hope they do. I think a lot of people look forward to that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see too, because there are certain scenes that probably didn't make the cut in this movie. Little things that we talked about. I just wonder how much footage did they show, maybe, or that they filmed of Captain America when he went back and to replace the stones. There's a lot of scenes like that you would think possibly would show up.
My question would be, though, like, okay, they're going to be building up to this next phase. What is going to be the movie that brings everybody together?
I don't know.
We have Avengers that brought Iron Man.
I think it's Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking today too.
Yeah.
I mean, they might show little bits of the characters in these movies, and then the formation of the Fantastic Four and all their allies and so forth.
You know what I think is going to be the hard part, though, is they can't have them appear before 2023, right?
I don't know. Is that even true?
If they were available, wouldn't they have showed up and tried to stop this from happening?
Well, wait. What do you mean? What do you mean 2023? You mean like in the movie timeline?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting how they handle that.
And the other thing is the Spider-Man movie. When did that take place? Well, is that going to be?
There was a little thing that they said. Hulk said something that might answer this question. I don't remember exactly in verbatim what he said, but he said something that doing this sort of opens up new paths or something like that. Mm-hmm. That they might work that in somehow there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're in the negative zone. Maybe the Fantastic Four hasn't been formed yet.
Well, I could see that if the Eternals show up, that's what happens, and the Fantastic Four maybe get in the ship to go up and see what's going on, and with the Celestials or somebody like that, and that's when it happens to them.
They might do that. They might introduce some of these characters in some of these other movies, like Doctor Strange or whatever, and then eventually they all get together and form the team and all that other stuff. I mean, you just don't.
Well, if you think about it, at the end, they didn't really show what happened to Doctor Strange. Some of the characters, everyone, the main 6 characters, they kind of showed you what was going to happen to them. And Guardians, they showed, but they didn't really let you know what was going to happen, with Doctor Strange, or they didn't really show Spider-Man either. So I could easily see them trying to do a real Defenders this time with the Hulk and with Doctor Strange. And you notice that the head of the Black Panther Guard there, she talked about the underwater earthquake, and I'm sure that was a reference to Submariner.
It could be. I mean, it could have been little subtle things that just weren't,
I don't think they'd ever give him his own movie, but I think he'll show up. I mean, it's too long-standing a character, and there's a lot of fan base for Submariner.
Is Submariner, though, do they even have the rights to the Submariner, or is his rights out to a different studio altogether?
I don't know. I mean,
I thought I heard somebody say the rights to Submariner are under Universal Studios or something like that.
That's the same as Hulk, though. I mean, Hulk's been in all.
Is it?
And he's with Universal. I think that's why you won't see another standalone Hulk movie.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, that's why you probably won't see a standalone Submariner.
They'll use them all day in like a Defenders movie or something like that. But I don't think you'll see Submariner get his own film, especially because of the closeness and story to
Aquaman.
Yeah.
But you'll probably see a Silver Surfer standalone.
I don't know. I don't know if you will.
Don't think so?
I don't know. I mean, if they let it happen organically, really they should follow the 48, 49, and 50 storyline. That could be a movie all unto itself. I mean, you could introduce the Watcher. You can introduce a lot of characters during that.
Well, the Watchers, you saw them. They were introduced briefly in Guardians.
Watcher, but not our Watcher.
No, not the Watcher, whatever his name is.
Watu or whatever.
Watu, whatever. Yeah.
So I'm sure those books are all going to shoot up as well.
Yeah, I really believe that Silver Surfer 4, if anyone hasn't figured this one out already, that's not Silver Surfer 4, Fantastic Four 48, that's going to be a crazy book.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
It really is.
After 1, I think that book is even past 52.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
And it even passed 45 somehow.
I don't get that one.
I still want a copy of 45. I love that cover. It's always been one of my favorite covers because I love night covers, especially if it has a moon on it. And if it's got a lantern on top of that, well, sold.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'll get your you'll get your lantern cover soon enough with Tales from the Crypt, right?
Yeah, 46. I would love to get one, but that's another thing. It hampers my enjoyment of a book when I have to overpay.
Well, those things, though, that's another thing. That a lot of the ECs are skyrocketing now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like everything is going up. It's just, I don't know.
Tide raises all boats, right?
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it, too, is the ECs truly are scarce, at least in better grades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not like these bronze books that they only appear to be scarce because the demand is so high. When you have a book that is truly scarce, and I think a lot of those books didn't survive because of what happened with the code. I mean, those were on the front lines of parents, busting in their kids' room, and if they saw an EC book, they got trashed.
Yeah,
a lot of them did not survive like these hero books did. I mean, parents weren't going to grab Captain America and throw it in an ash can.
No. Captain America is like, the good guy. You see in these horror comics. You take a look at one of the covers.
Batman, to a certain degree, they weren't going to trash those books. But any of the monster books, I think, obviously any of some of those timelies, there's some pretty dark covers. I'm thinking about like Black Cat, that one cover with the melt face.
50.
Yeah, if somebody came into a kid's room, 10-year-old kid's room, and he had that laying on his nightstand, that thing got torched.
Seriously, though, I mean, and you just said that book, and you take a look at a lot of the crime suspense stories.
Yeah,
women getting strangled or being dragged up to the
drug usage, all of it. All of that. The people got all bent out of shape and crazy about. They didn't really care, I guess, at the time that women were treated like second-class citizens, and the rapid racism that was going on in the 50s.
Yeah. But, let's not show any of that on the covers.
When people say, the 50s were a great time, I'm like, yeah, if you were a white male in America, they were probably fantastic. But if you were anything else, it was not a good time to be around. It wasn't Happy Days.
Oh, Happy Days. Is that when Happy Days took place in the 50s?
Yeah, 1955.
Oh, okay.
That's when Fonzie says that classic line, I wish it could be 1955 forever.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't really like Happy Days that much.
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. You know, it came out. It was '74. I think it started.
How
Mostly
long?
based on American Graffiti.
Yeah, yeah. How long was it on TV? Happy Days.
It actually formed the term "jump the shark." It comes from Happy Days because Fonzie, even the later seasons, jumped the shark on water skis. That's where that
I,
term comes from.
did he
Uh,
have like his leather jacket on?
oh yeah, no, he wore the leather jacket and blue swim trunks. I think, if I remember right. You never saw the episode?
No.
When we get off tonight, just type in Fonzie jumps shark, and you can see the YouTube clip.
I never saw that
Officially,
episode.
that's where that term comes from, and it's basically refers to a crazy stunt, and typically it's like twins or somebody has a baby or there's an evil twin, or I can remember Knight Rider. That's when you knew that show was
Oh,
over, when the evil twin and the giant semi truck showed up, and it was just Hasselhoff with a goatee.
I remember when Mr. Miyagi was on Happy Days.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was
he was the original.
okay. So I was like, oh wow, it's Mr. Miyagi.
At Merida, yeah.
A thinner Mr.
Well, that's
Miyagi.
where he worked first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
Happy Days.
Yeah, that's going to be the topic next.
Yeah, Happy Days. Yeah,
Happy Days.
yeah.
We should start. We should have
it. Ron Howard had two great shows in a row. I mean, he had Andy Griffith, and then he kind of segued right into that.
And then he became a director.
He became a director. Yeah, he did.
So he did really well for himself.
Yeah, yeah.
He did Splash too. Remember that?
Splash. He did Cocoon. He had some very big hits early on. And he, I do a lot of those master classes. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
Master classes.
Yeah, it's an app, and they have people like Neil Gaiman and Ron Howard and Samuel L. Jackson. They all do whatever they're good at. They have a class, and it's online. You can take.
Oh, okay.
You pay one price, and you can watch all of them. Right now, I'm on the 4th episode of Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
It's writing. It's very, very interesting. I could definitely see that in the future, learning this way. Instead of going to a traditional, sitting in a classroom kind of thing.
Oh, well, that's definitely the way of the future.
Yeah, you learn at your own pace. You can play it back. If you miss something, you don't have to lean over and listen, or you don't have to have a tape recording like I used to do in school. Try to hear it. Yeah. We're almost done here. I don't know if we talked enough about it. I'm sure I'll go back and look at the chat. I'm sure we missed a ton of things here. I tried to talk about the things that not everyone else on YouTube is talking about.
I think we did.
Yeah, I love the movie, and obviously it's not perfect. It's not a perfect movie. I don't think I've ever seen a perfect movie, but the old saying, "You don't always get what you want. You usually get what you deserve." I think really stands for this. This is, to me, is better than I could have ever hoped for. If you told the 10-year-old me that this was going to happen, I would have had a card on the wall counting the days down till it happened for 30 years. 40 years, actually. I waited 40 years for this movie.
Well, I remember back when I first started collecting, I was hoping for a good comic book movie, and instead we had the shitty Captain America movie from earlier in the 90s. We had the shitty Punisher movie and the shitty Fantastic Four movie. I was hoping for something
like Daredevil and Elektra and Ghost Rider and all these movies were. You needed them. You needed something to start. If those movies didn't happen, we wouldn't have got all of these. I mean, I'm critical of the X-Men movies. I don't like them. I don't like any of them. Logan was okay for me. It wasn't great. It was an okay for me. I know that's blasphemous. Some people think it's the best movie they ever saw.
Yeah, I don't get that.
They were all okay for me. The original X-Men I thought were terrible, but you needed them. You needed those to be in there. Even these TV shows. I mean, Iron Fist and Luke Cage. I didn't love these shows, but if you think about it, would you rather see that or another episode of Friends? Yeah, I mean, I would any day.
Yeah, no thanks.
That's what I mean. So they're gonna do better. These shows will be better. I think the buddy cop one that they're going to do with Winter Soldier and Falcon is going to be interesting, especially what we've seen in Endgame. Will he be Falcon or is he going to be Captain America, or he's going to be that combo that he was in the comics?
Good question.
Black Widow, the Black Widow movie now that casts an odd shadow on that. Now we're in.
Well, it's a prequel.
It would have to be, right? Or maybe, or is it the 5 years where she was kind of half Shield, half Avenger, running the Avengers. You know,
Who knows?
any direction with this thing.
And Loki, what are they going to do with that? Same thing.
Well, he grabbed that Tesseract, so this could be a totally different Loki.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
It could be.
He popped into that portal and he disappeared. So who knows where they're going with that? The weird one that I read the other day was that is Scarlet Witch in the Vision. Is that going to be set in the 50s? Did I read that right?
I have no idea.
Because I read that and I don't remember if it was on Slant or one of those sites. And no, not Slant. What is it called? Screen Rant? No. Anyway, it was one of those things.
Sure, it wasn't Emergency Awesome.
No, I can't watch that guy. Oh my God.
No, I can't watch it either. Yeah. And again, I saw a brief clip. Avengers Endgame post-credits scene explained. I'm like, what? And then when you read on with the title, I think it had something else in it. But it was just such a bunch of crap.
These guys clickbait and all that kind of jazz. They just want you to click on it.
Yeah. Well, everyone, it's 8:01.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed the chat. We tried to talk about the movie as much as we could. I'm sure, like Patrick said.
From my point of view.
That's right.
You all don't have my point of view. You all don't agree with me. I get it.
That's fine.
If I upset anyone, I didn't mean to. It wasn't my intention. It's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, we all have our opinions about it.
Correct.
But definitely, if those of you that saw it, you might want to see it again. I know I do. I know Patrick does. And maybe we'll talk about this again in the coming weeks, a little drips and drabs. But it's a lot to discuss.
There's totally a lot to discuss. So anyway, I'll go back and I'll read all the comments. And I will, if any of you ask questions, I'll answer them. I will be this weekend. Don't forget, everybody, Free Comic Book Days, Saturday. Try to hit more than one store, even if you have your favorite store. Try to go to multiple ones. It's just a fun, festive day for our hobby. And if we don't support it, it'll go away. So definitely go out there and help out. Maybe don't just grab the free books. Actually, maybe buy something. There's a ton of great sales on these guys. They all use this as a great opportunity to sell stuff. The day after, I'll be with Mike out at the West Side Con here in Rochester. It's like a sidewalk sale, so that'll be a lot of fun. I get to see a lot of people.
Until then.
Till next time, everybody. Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for more comics.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.